Hey everybody, I changed it up. I'm on my back porch today for your chapter review. Today we're going to be reviewing chapter 5. Chapter 5, Lights Up. There's some big concepts in this chapter, so I'm going to try to break it down as best as I can. All right. So, on the first page, the question says, review the colors of visible light. What does that mean? Visible light are the colors that we can see, like in the rainbow. And the acronym, let me get my things here, is Roy G. Biv. Ooh. Let me get a different one. So glad I had this easel. All right, Roy G. Biv. What do you think R stands for? Excuse me. Red. O stands for orange. Y stands for yellow. G stands for green. B stands for blue, which is the color I'm writing with, if you could tell. I stands for indigo. And V stands for violet. All right. Roy G. Biv are the colors that we see in a rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. All right. Don't drink my water. All right. All right. So on that first page, our characters are Rhett and Cynthia. They see a yellow house and they want to know, why is it yellow? And Miss Biss says that light waves are either absorbed or reflected by objects, all right? That's how we can see different colors. So we're going to talk about that. Reflect means to bounce off, and absorb means to soak in. All right, I've got an example for that in just a minute. When colors are absorbed, we don't see them. The light waves soak into the object. So when light hits an object, it can either be absorbed and soak in, or it can reflect and bounce off. All right, and remember those light wave, these are the colors of the light waves. So depending on what the object is made out of, it soaks in certain colors. So our eyes see the colors that it does not soak in. So on the yellow house in the story, that means all of the colors. That means that in the house, there's my house. The house is soaking in red, orange, green, blue, indigo, and violet. So the only one left is yellow. Yellow is not soaking into the house. It's actually being reflected. So that's why we see yellow. All right. Ooh, that next page with the black door is a really good example. So when we see black, that means all the colors are being absorbed. All right, like my black computer. All the colors are being absorbed, so what our eyes see is black. Versus white, all of the colors are reflecting, and that's why our eyes see white. All right, and then Jacinda notices a glass of water on the table with a straw, and the straw looks funny in the water. Jacinda thinks something happened to the straw, but really it's a trick on our eyes. Nothing happened to the straw. It's not broken, it's not bent. It's still straight. All right, so light makes the straw or any object that you put in water, it makes it look bent. Because when light moves from air to water, it changes the direction that it bends. Okay, I'm gonna practice with my marker and see if you can see what I'm talking about, but it does kind of float. All right, do you see how the marker looks funny in the water? Is my marker growing when I put it in the water? No, it's not growing. It's just the way that the light reflects in water. It makes objects look different. So this is kind of a project you could practice at home too. Fill up a clear glass with water, stick a straw or a pencil, pen, or a marker, and watch what happens. It's pretty neat. Okay. I know in my last video I said the difference between light waves and sound waves was that light cannot travel through objects and sounds can. That's still true, but there are certain materials that light does travel through, like windows. If it's daytime, you can have all the lights off in your house, but there's still light coming through the windows. That's because the windows are what we call transparent. That means transparent means you can see through something. Like right now, I can look through my window and see my husband sitting on the couch. He's doing a conference call with some of the teachers that he works with. All right. Okay. So transparent means we can see through it. Light travels through it. This window is transparent. But what about lamps? When you turn a lamp on in your house, it's usually dim, means it's not very bright, and you can see light through the fabric of your lampshade. That means it is translucent. That's another big word. All right, so transparent, window, totally see-through. Light can shine all the way through it. Translucent is like a lampshade where some light comes through. And that's usually why a lamp feels more dim. It's not as bright because only some light is coming through the fabric. And then there are objects that are opaque. Opaque means there is no way light can travel through that object. Like if I were to put a flashlight behind my camera's videotaping me. If I were to use my phone flashlight and put it behind this board, it wouldn't shine through. That's opaque. All right. All right. And then our characters in our play have to keep setting up and getting ready for their play. But a few more minutes of review. Okay. Let me get back up to the top here. All right, so light waves can either be absorbed and soak in, or they can reflect and bounce off. All right. Are you ready for a cool example? So We use absorb in different ways. It's a word that can apply to different things. Light waves are absorbed, but to give you a visual of what absorbed might look like, all right, here's water, and do you see water coming out the other side of my rag? No, it's soaked in. All right, the rag absorbed the water, just like some objects absorb light waves. That means that we can't see them. Let me do it one more time, all right? So we're pretending like this is a light wave hitting an object, all right? I don't see water coming through the other side. That means whatever color this is, a little bit, whatever color this is being absorbed, so we can't see it. So light waves are either absorbed or reflected. All right, if light waves are absorbed, that means they soaked into the object. When a color reflects, that means it bounces off of an object. All right, like it's sunny outside right now, and the sun rays are hitting my table, and I can kind of see a reflection, okay? When our eyes see black, that means all of the colors have been absorbed. Because all of the colors have been absorbed, there's nothing for our eyes to see but black, all right? When all of the colors are reflected, we see white. So when all the colors hit and reflect, that's when we see white. All right. How does a straw look in a glass of water? It looks kind of bent, like there's something wrong with it. But it's perfectly straight. All right. When light waves move from air to water, what happens to the particles? Do you remember that from my last video? Do you remember my picture? I said there's all these little particles called photons. So when light hits water, the reason why it looks bent, it looks funny, is because all of those particles are slowing down. Okay. All right. Opaque means you cannot see through it. One of your questions is going to ask you, what are some items that are opaque? That means, what are some items that you do not see light through? And then another question that's going to be asked of you is, what makes objects translucent? All right. Transparent, remember, is completely see-through like a window. Translucent is like a lamp that's dim because it lets some light in. All right, that was our review of chapter 5. I know there were a lot of big concepts that were talked about, but I want to try to finish this chapter before the end of the month. All right, you guys are doing an awesome job learning from home. Please either keep on printing your worksheets and completing them, signing into News to You, the student view, and doing your work through there. Please ask me if you have any questions. Let me know how I can help. You guys are doing awesome.